Top of the morning to ya, or should I say night? That was terrible.
This is Book Girlies After Dark.
Book Girlies After Dark, and we look a little deranged.
This is our St. Patrick's Day edition.
Yes, and in the spirit of the Irish, we're doing an Irish Mafia series.
There's literally,
or just our favorite Irish Mafia books.
Yeah, I say we, but Casey started like our little Mafia kick like a month ago. She was like, I need all the Mafia book recs, and I was like, Casey,
I was on a kick. Listen, you hear the name Dante, you're like, ooh, bad boy. And then Dante again, you're like, ooh, mobster. And I was like, I need a new author. I need somebody to read. Mm-hmm. So I started reading Savage Little Games, The Sin City Mafia by Lane Hart. Mm-hmm. And her second book, well, you are introduced to Lachlan Dune in the first book. He's took over for his dad, the Irish Mafia in Las Vegas, Nevada, the city that never sleeps. And
Sin City.
Yeah, Sin City. Hence why it's called the Sin City series. Anyway, so in the first book, you're told that Lachlan is promised Dante's oldest daughter.
Ooh.
And she was against it the entire time throughout the book. So then you get to the second book, Lachlan's book, and she runs away. The oldest daughter that was promised to her runs away. And so what does Lachlan do?
Throws a fucking fit.
He does throw a fit, but he one-ups Dante, and he sends out wedding invitations to all the high-up people in Las Vegas, and he's like, so here's the wedding, and my bride is going to be the second daughter.
Her sister.
That's
honestly so funny.
Yeah.
It kind of reminds me of the Maddest Obsession, The Sweetest Oblivion by Daniel Laurie. It's kind of like the same premise. He's not Irish, so we're not really talking about him today, but it's like where he's like promised one sister and then ends up with the other. And so I feel like that's kind of like a funny dynamic. Like, and I've never read these books, so Casey's really trying to convince me to read them right now. I feel like I have to read them.
Yep.
They sound like really fun.
Yeah, so he sends out the invitations to everybody, and it's the announcement, unbeknownst to Dante, that he will be marrying his second daughter. He tries to get his daughter out of it.
He will be marrying his second daughter?
Yeah.
Like marrying off.
No, Dante didn't know about it. Dante had no idea. Lachlan was like, okay.
Okay. I was getting my Mafia men mixed up. I was like, wait, is Dante the dad? I got it. Okay. Yes, Dante's the love interest.
Dante's the girl's dad. Lachlan is the one that's getting married. He's the head of the Irish mob.
Ooh.
Yes. So he was like, I'm going to wait until Dante tells me his oldest daughter has run away. Dante doesn't do it. So he's like, okay, well, let me do a little chess move and put out invitations to my and his second daughter's wedding. And Dante's like, what the heck? And so, yeah, he couldn't.
Lachlan seems like a shit stirrer.
Oh, he is.
Yeah.
For sure. He owns a rival casino to Dante.
Dang.
Yeah, and he's got a huge lawsuit going on at the time because in Dante's book, his casino blew up and a lot of people were injured and killed. And so, anyway, he ends up marrying Dante's second daughter. She hates him.
Of course.
Hates him. Of course. Yes.
Yeah.
She doesn't know him. She's like an 18-year-old virgin, and he kind of like starts to show her and introduce her to her sexuality. And he's got cameras all over the house. She has her own bedroom, cameras all over the house, and he like sends her sex toys.
Ooh.
And he watches her use them.
That sounds so fun.
Yes.
Like, I can really get behind that.
Yeah. I don't know that you would catch me doing that.
Honestly, like if I knew there was cameras, I might be like,
she knew.
Oh, dang. So she's like, you want to play, motherfucker?
Oh,
like,
basically.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Okay, I can get down with that. Like if she was like all shy about it, I might be like, oh, that's kind of like an not invasion of privacy, because he fucking basically kidnapped her.
You want a power switch though towards the end of the book, and they were actually like falling for each other. There was a big switch of power between the two of them. I mean, he's like in his 30s. I don't even know that she's 20 yet.
Ooh, age gap.
Yes. And he did something that upset her, and she runs back to Daddy.
Oh, dang.
And Daddy protects her, but he like comes with his tail tucked between his legs. And so
we love a man that grovels. So
he goes to her room, and she decides she's gonna punish him. She makes him get on his knees.
Damn.
Pulls his pants down and spanks him.
That is so funny. Honestly.
Yep.
That is a fucking bitch move in like the best way.
Yep. So
that's a power move.
She bitches him. Yep. She does. That's the best way to put it.
That is
she does.
So funny.
And then I'll let you guys finish the book to
Casey's
know what happens in the rest of that scene, because that gets a little vulgar that I don't think I need to be
that's inappropriate for the internet. Go read it. Is it on Kindle Unlimited?
It is.
And what was it called?
It is, let me pull it back up. It is Ruthless Little Games. It is by Lane Hart. It's the Sin City Mafia series. It's book number 2.
Okay.
Yes.
That sounds like fun.
Okay. Do you want to do your book?
Yes. Okay. So mine, which I feel like is kind of like an underrated book. It is by J.T. Geisinger. I don't know if I'm saying her last name right.
Sounds like a tongue twister.
Yeah, Geisinger. It's messed up. Sorry, girlfriend. It's called Beautifully Cruel, and it is about Liam and Truvy. Truvy works at a diner, and there's this man that comes in all the time, always sits in her section, only orders black coffee, only talks to her, and everyone's like hyping her up, and they're like, they call him the Wolf. Okay,
this sounds so similar to the first book of the Sin City Mafia series.
Really?
About Dante. Yes. He sits in his bar downstairs where his love interest works as a bartender, and he sits there and watches her all night.
What is up with these men watching girls?
And he calls her Butterfly because she's got this expansive butterfly tattoo down her back.
Cute.
Yeah.
Anyway, okay, I'm going to have to read that series. But, so, okay, Liam goes and sits in Truvy's section, hardly ever says a word to the girl, and he's like dedicated. He goes and sits in her section for like a year before he really like speaks to her. Well, one day she was finally like, you know what, fuck it, and she goes and talks to the man, and so they have a little conversation, and then it's dual point of view, so you get Truvy's point of view and then Liam's, and he's like, I can't be around her, I don't want to pull her into my world, because he's head of like basically like the head of mafia, like he is like the top dog, right? But he's like, I can't stay away, I can't stop looking at her, I can't stop watching her. And yeah, it's really good.
Love a stalker.
It's so good. Well, so something happens to Truvy where Liam comes and saves her, and then she's like, okay, like you basically saved my life, like we really need to like get to know each other. Well, he's like, okay, I'm not about to like pull you into my world, but I basically like he has a break, okay, for like 30 days. And he's like, you come stay with me for 30 days. Like doing it for 30 days straight, right?
This literally sounds like the first book of the Sin City Mafia, because
we're basically reading the same things.
Dante gets the girl out of a sticky situation because of her ex-boyfriend and was like, well, you have to live with me for 76 days or something like that.
Very specific, yeah. That's so funny. This is literally hilarious.
In that book, did I tell you in this one scene, she falls asleep with his in her mouth. He falls asleep, she falls asleep.
How does that?
But he was challenging her, and she's like, "Oh, I'm not gonna give in to him."
For like a time run type thing. Like, let's see how long you can go.
Like, yeah. Wow. And he had his like legs around her head.
And she's like,
I was like, what kind of kid stuff is this?
Okay, that doesn't Beautifully Cruel. But so, okay, anyways.
There's a lot of similarities.
Yeah, so Liam offers to Truvy, hey, you're going to come stay with me for 30 days, and we're just going to do the dirty nasty all over my penthouse apartment. And she's like, you know what? Let me think about it, because Truvy is going to school to be a lawyer. And she finally kind of discovers what Liam's about. And Truvy says no. And she's like, no, I'm not going to do that with you. I'm going to hold my boundaries. You know, I know that if I go sleep with you and stay with you for 30 days, I'm going to want more and you're not going to give me more. Well, guess what? Liam says fuck that and he fucking takes her anyways. Basically, like, something happens and he's like, you know what? You don't get a say in this. He takes her captive for 30 days.
Gives me Kingfisher vibes.
Bro, she is so pissed. And she's like, fuck you. Like, and it is so good, like, the banter between them at that, like, in the beginning, like, whenever she's, like, thinking about it, like, obviously, like, their banter is great, but it gets so good, like, whenever he's like, you're gonna come stay with me whether you fucking like it or not. And then she's like, you know what, fuck you, like, I have a decision, this is my life. And it gets so good. And I'm telling you, like, the ending of this book had me, like, my jaw on the floor. Like, anything that you think that would happen does not happen. And yeah, it leads into a second book. I don't know if they're technically duologies, but the second book in this series is about his brother. And where the first one leaves off, the second one picks up. But I'm going to let Casey talk about her second book, and then we'll come back to mine.
Okay. So my second book is Ruthless Savage. It's the first book in the Savage Kings series by Lillian Harris. And this is an age gap bodyguard trope.
Ooh, I love a bodyguard trope.
Yes. Love a bodyguard trope. Love an age gap because, listen,
Casey's an older man.
I am an older man. I don't play.
Like, give me a daddy.
I don't play with babies. Baby men. I think that sounds better.
Baby men.
This is about Eru Quinn. She's the daughter of the head of the mafia. Ooh. And her bodyguard's name is Devlin. Now, when this book starts, Devlin's in prison because something that Eru did. He started protecting Eru when she was 13. And so at this point, when it goes to present day, she's now 18.
Oh, okay.
Yes. The entire time, huge infatuation with
like
Devlin.
On her part, yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, I guess
it would be creepy if it was the other way around because she's 13.
Yeah, no, I don't think his infatuation with her started until he was in prison because she came once a week, every week, the entire time he was in prison. I think that was like for 2 years.
Yeah,
and he was like, why does she care so much, really?
Yeah.
And she came, she would write letters, and she laid it out there for him, was like,
that's dedication.
You are my man.
Damn.
You are my man. And he's like,
bitch seen what she wanted and she got it.
He's like, I'm not deserving of this, what? But anyway, he ended up in prison because of Eru, because she drugged him and snuck out, and then she ended up getting kidnapped by another
like a rival gang.
Yes. And so present day, he gets out. Now he's her bodyguard again, and she's in college.
Wow, honestly, that's some trust on her dad to let him fucking bodyguard her again. I'd be like, you failed once. Well, you're done.
Her dad actually looks at him like a son.
Oh,
and
okay.
Now, mind you, when he gets out, he's 35. Okay.
And she's like 18.
Yes.
Hot.
And she had to convince her dad to let her go to college in New York. So now they're like closer proximity because...
Oh, so they're like in a different city. They really only have each other.
Yes.
Oh, yeah. Yes. I can get down with that.
And so now they... I don't want to say they can express themselves more because he definitely doesn't, but she's like constantly testing his patience.
I was about to say, I feel like at that point, like whenever you get like, you're not like under the eye of your dad all the time. So she feels a little bit more like brave.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so, her friend in college introduces her to this sex club in the city. And it's like $10,000 up front. It's run by the Russians.
Of course it is.
She thinks it's a masked party. Now, when you go in, obviously it's going on everywhere.
There is things going down.
It's going on everywhere. And so she thinks that she's getting away with it. Nobody knows that her dad runs the Irish mob, blah, blah, blah. They know. The Irish...
I was about to say, the Russians know everything.
The Russians, they know. And then so Devlin finds out that she's in this club, and he tries to get in. And
he's pissed.
And the Russians are like, absolutely not. And they're pulling their guns on him and stuff like that. They're like, you're not getting in here. And he's like, you don't understand. I need in there. So then the head of the Russian mob comes out and is like, oh, my old friend, and like lets him in and stuff. I know who you're looking for. And so Devlin gets a mask from the Russian and they find her and she's enthralled by the scene that's going on.
I'm sure she is.
And this is the first time Devlin let himself like
kind of like let go of his bodyguard duties, and he's like, all right, if I have a mask and she has a mask, it's kind of like,
so he knows what he's doing to her, but she doesn't know it's him doing it to her.
Oh dang.
So she doesn't lose her virginity yet, but he gives her first orgasm at the party.
Some things happen.
Yes. So later, like weeks later, she ends up going to this club again. This time she's on a mission to lose her virginity because her father is trying to arrange marriage her to this horrible man that's like abusive and all this other stuff. So she's like, and
I literally hate that in mafia books where the dad's like, you're gonna marry who I say, like no matter what, and like I don't care if you like it or not. That is like one of like my like, unless the dad is the villain, that is like my number one like hated mafia like micro trope, like where the dad's crazy. Like a piece of shit.
Her dad is actually like super sweet in the book. Like
that doesn't
the head of a mob, he's like really, really sweet. So she's like, I'm on a mission, I'm gonna lose my virginity because if
this old sack of shit's not gonna take it from me,
then he's not gonna want me. Well, she shows up at the club. They do this auction for virginities and people spend money for these virginities.
I love that. That's so fun.
Yes. So when whoever buys her obviously gets to take the virginity, but they're allowed people to watch the virginity being taken.
Dang. She said, look, if I'm gonna go out with a bang.
Yes.
Dang. Look, homegirl's brave because I would never in a million years.
Oh, you just wait. Because she goes out on stage. Devlin finally realizes it's her on stage. And mind you, she's in a
shit fit.
A sheer white gown with crystal pasties on her nipples and a white thong on. And so when he realizes it's her, he's pulls his gun and also somebody had just purchased her for $3 million.
Damn.
And so the guy's going up on stage and Devlin's like, absolutely not, pulls his gun, shoots the guy in front of this theater full of people. And the Russian guy was like, well, look what you've done. You've made a mess of everything. And now lock the doors. He goes, now she's yours. You're going to take her virginity and you're going to do it in front of everybody in this club.
Dang.
They pull a couch out on the stage.
What?
Yeah.
I'm telling you, I would have lost my mind if I was reading this.
Yeah.
Absolutely fucking lose it.
And he took the virginity on that stage.
Dang. That's crazy.
Yeah.
That is some crazy ass shit.
Yeah, it was quite steamy to read.
Quite steamy. Were you reading it at work, Casey? That's a yes.
Yeah.
Look, I love how like at work you can like read like some of the spiciest scenes and you're just like sitting there like,
well, if people come up to me, I'm like,
you don't.
I'm like, what do you want? Get it out, and just like,
hurry up, tell me this is a good part.
They're like, oh god, Casey's reading again. They know I read smut, but we just don't make it a topic of conversation. Okay, don't put it out there that I'm.
They don't know that you're reading about someone's virginity being
just
auctioned
people
off.
Think I'm intelligent and I am reading a book about something that's not that. Anyway,
look, they know that like I'll listen to my audiobooks or whatever, and like my boss come in the other day and he was like, I think that he thought I was like listening to music, and I was like, oh, I gotta pause my book. He was like, you're reading? I was like, uh-huh. Yeah, I am.
Yeah.
What do you want? Like, you don't want to know what I'm reading about right now, because I'm pretty sure it was like Zodiac Academy 8 where like Seth and Caleb were like hooking up, and I was like,
oh yeah, Zodiac Academy is not one of those.
Yes, no, I'm definitely reading like Dickens and Jane Austen, and for sure
Zodiac Academy will make an OnlyFans model blush.
Look, that shit is crazy. I love Zodiac Academy.
Oh, yeah.
Anyways, we're getting off topic.
Yeah,
because we could yap for sure.
But yes, so the end of this book is like a lot of it. It's inner turmoil for him because he doesn't think he's worthy of her because of the way he lost his brother, and finally,
like him coming to terms with that it's okay for him to have her.
Yeah, and they think that they're fooling everybody. Nobody knows that they're both infatuated with each other, and so at the very end of the book, the father's like, well, son, I've been waiting for you to grow a pair and ask me to marry her.
That's literally so funny.
Yeah, he's like, I love you like a son. Why wouldn't I? I just had to give you a little bit of an incentive to ask me.
Dang.
Yeah. So
that's literally so fun. And is that one on Kindle Unlimited?
It is on Kindle Unlimited.
I love Kindle Unlimited. Okay, so the first one that I talked about was Liam and Truvy. This one is about Liam's brother.
Okay.
Killian. And so something happens.
Killian's such an Irish.
Yes, it's very Irish. So Killian and Liam have had like a very traumatic like upbringing background, and that kind of like led them into the life that they're leading now. But okay, so something happens in Liam's book that in turn makes Killian take over for Liam. Okay. And so, but they're twins, identical twins. Okay. And
so nobody knows that Killian's taking over.
Right. And like the same tattoos, the same everything.
So then they did that on purpose. I mean, for him to have to go get the same tattoos as his brother.
Oh yeah. And there's a reason, and you find out like at the end of Beautifully Cruel, like what the reason and stuff is. That's the part that I'm like, your jaw's on the floor. Like the reason why they do what they do, and the reason why they do it, and the reason that they look identical, they don't try to look, anyways. So Juliet is the daughter of a rival gang, but no one knows it, okay? And in the beginning of this book, she is stealing diapers out of a warehouse that Killian, it's one of their like legitimate businesses, but she's stealing these diapers to give to like the homeless and donate to shelters and stuff like that. And she's like, you know what? Fuck the patriarchy. Like this man has enough money. He's got enough shit. Like me and my friends, we're going to go break into his fucking warehouse, steal these diapers, and fuck you. Like literally, like she's driving this freaking van, just like middle finger out, right? And she's so funny. Well, and Killian's like, I have to fucking meet her. Like, who is this little thief? And he calls her little thief. Oh my god. I love the nickname. And it's just so funny. Like them coming together and him finding out who she is. And like there's some crazy, you have to read it. I'm telling you, like this, I'm assuming it's a duology. But so you have to read them. You have to read them in order for them to make sense. But it's so worth it. It's so good. The spice is spicy, like crazy. And then they both have like a layer of like suspense and like just items that like you're just really not expecting, and it's so much fun. I really don't want to give a lot away of the second book because it'll give away the first book, but it's so good. And it's some of my favorite mafia books of hers. JT Geisinger has Ruthless Creatures, and it's a whole nother like mafia series that is traditionally published. And Liam and Killian make cameos in those books. So you have to, I suggest reading these first and then reading like Ruthless Creatures, Ruthless Vows. There's a whole other thing. But they're literally so fun. Yeah. Totally recommend. And they're on Kindle Unlimited.
Yeah. For anybody that does not have Kindle Unlimited, what are you doing?
Literally, what are you doing?
What are you doing?
I find some of the best, just random indie authors on Kindle Unlimited. It's not even funny.
Yeah, but not even that. It's just like you're on the go. You can't bring the whole book you.
Mm-hmm.
You can get Kindle Unlimited on your phone. You can have the Kindle Light or the Kindle Paperwhite.
Like the Kindle itself, yeah.
Yeah, the Kindle itself. Keep it with you. Just makes it so much easier. You can take it wherever you are, just sitting there reading. Like, what are you doing?
It's literally,
you've got thousands of books at your hand.
Yeah, we definitely need like a whole Kindle Unlimited episode, like just convincing someone to get a Kindle, because what are you doing if you haven't?
Are you actually a book girly?
For real. But it's so good. I adore Kindle Unlimited. Yeah, so I think that's it.
I think that is the episode.
All right, book girlies. We'll see you next time.
We'll see you next time. Bye.
Bye.
I feel like my kisses are getting weaker. So, this month's book club pick is Quicksilver. And
so I've already finished it, and Casey's halfway through?
I'm halfway through it, and I put a dent in it today. I went from like 15 to 20% to like I'm close to 55 now.
Dang.
And it was a slow start for me. It is a slow start in the book, like at the beginning of the book when she's like trying to get out of the third, or crossing back into the third, and you know, with the gauntlet.
Like a lot of like the fantasy books, because it's not just going to be one single book. There's going to be multiple. I feel like the beginnings almost have to be slow to like set you up, like where you need to be.
I know it's information based and stuff like that, so I get it. But I was like, "Oh,
hurry up and get to the good part."
I'm like, hook me already, because it was like not a fourth weight, ACOTAR thing where it took me like 3-4 chapters before I was like, okay.
Like once you got to a certain part, you're like, all right, I understand the hype, I get it, I'm obsessed.
Yes. Yeah. Now, once you finally get to Kingfisher, oh my god, he is a dirty boy.
That man.
And I love it. I love Kingfisher. I am invested. I'm obsessed. And yeah.
He's honestly so funny. I love him. Yes. He's so like grumpy, but like you just know that there's more to him than like what he's showing people.
Absolutely.
And I feel like that's like some of my favorite like character traits and stuff for like male main characters, especially in fantasy books, because like it really doesn't make sense in like contemporary romance where like they have secrets and stuff. It's like really like you're a fucking CEO of a company, like what secrets do you have? But like I feel like Kingfisher has like secrets that come out to Saris, and the way that they come out is just, it's so fun.
I feel like he has these two sides, and then when it comes to everybody that is not Saris, and then when it comes to her, there's this third side. So there's the people of Bellicon's like territory that are like, he's horrible, he's a monster. If you take the pendant, then he's ready to destroy everybody. And then you have his people that absolutely adore him, and he's so,
that are ride or die for Kingfisher. Like he does no wrong.
So sweet. So sweet. And yes, you raise your sword to the commander. Don't talk to the commander that way. And then it comes to Saris, and it's just like this whole other side. His dirty mouth. Love it.
That man is filthy.
Love it.
You wait, Casey. It gets better, because whenever I was filming my like reactions, I was like in my car and I'm listening to it and I'm like banging my freaking hands against me. I'm like, oh my god, this is like
I was at work today.
Screaming.
I was at work today. And I'm like, I love Kingfisher! Kingfisher! And one of my coworkers is like, Kingfisher? I was like, you can call it Fisher! That way it's not weird.
Yeah. You just don't understand.
Yeah,
it's so good. Yeah.
Oh my
that God. Man. I cannot wait for you to finish it. You're gonna fucking like send me 20 snaps. Like, oh my god.
I'll
gonna be
probably
great.
Finish in like the next 2 days.
It's gonna be great.
Probably.
It's gonna be great. We picked a really good book club pick this month.
I do. I'm obsessed.
We got to start thinking about next month.
I know I am into something if my giddiness is on another level, and I sit there and I'm doing this like little evil laugh. And I'm like,
yeah, it's so good. Like whenever you're like freaking out. Yeah.